health insurance. It's something you pay for to protect your family in a time of need. But what happens if your insurance abandons you at your darkest hour?
A News 13 7-month investigation found a case of tiny babies fighting to stay alive, millions of dollars in medical bills, and careless blunders by a heartless insurance company.
Investigative reporter Larry Barker exposes the misdeeds and underhanded deals that devastated a New Mexico family.
It's a travesty, outrageous, and it's unreasonable.
It's not fair, it's not right, it's not ethical, and we hope to stop it.
Do you feel deceived?
Absolutely, 100%.
It's a case study in deceptive business practices, a cold-hearted insurance scandal complete with reckless blunders, secret deals, and bizarre billings. And if you thought health insurance will always protect you from catastrophic medical costs, think again.
Just ask Brett and Sarah Janos. They became unwitting victims November 6th last year when Sarah gave birth to triplets. It was a joyous event overshadowed by heartbreak. The Janos triplets were born prematurely in critical condition and struggled to stay alive at the Loveless Women's Hospital.
Like I was in another world. It was very hard actually to see them. They were a pound and a half each and hooked up to their machine.
Wyatt died within a few days. 3 weeks later, his brother Dustin passed away on Thanksgiving.
He was just critical. We ended up staying the whole Thanksgiving in the NICU, and that evening he kind of gave up.
Riley remained in intensive care for 4 months. Today, he is home. However, Riley will likely face medical challenges the rest of his life. The triplets' medical bills total more than $3.8 million. This is why we have health insurance.
You pay your monthly premiums, the out-of-pocket and deductible, then the insurance company picks up the rest. That's the way it's supposed to work. Now, at Blue Cross Blue Shield, they'll tell you all about your health insurance policy and what it covers. However, in this case, it's the exceptions Blue Cross did not talk about.
Brett and Sarah discovered the reality of health insurance after they received tens of thousands of dollars in mysterious invoices.
As far as bills that are stacked on my desk, there's still probably over $30,000 of bills. I don't know which one to pay. Every time we're put in collections, we're given an amount that doesn't match any of the bills.
John Franchini is New Mexico's insurance superintendent.
It is a tremendous tragedy, and I feel so sorry for this family. I'm very upset about the fact that there is no transparency and there is no openness or any communication like it should have been with this policy.
Consider the Loveless doctors who treated the Janos triplets. While the physicians work at the Loveless Newborn Intensive Care Unit, they don't actually work for Loveless. It's part of a secret business deal where the hospital uses contract doctors to staff its newborn ICU. On paper, the physicians actually work for a Florida company called Sheridan Healthcare, and it was Sheridan that billed Brett and Sarah for tens of thousands of dollars in doctor's fees.
Did you know who Sheridan was?
No, we had no idea.
And they were asking you to pay a ton of money.
Yes.
Brett asked a Blue Cross claims adjuster to explain the Sheridan bills.
We paid out of pocket, so we can't be responsible for anymore. You guys will have to cover these, $20,000, $30,000 of bills from Sheridan. And the lady says, no, you are responsible for everything.
Even though the Loveless doctors work here in New Mexico, their employer Sheridan is out of state in Florida. Therefore, Blue Cross explains the physician services are out of network. Now, out of network means Blue Cross won't pick up the tab, so all those bills were dumped on Brett and Sarah Janos.
After I found out that things were out of network and I was responsible for it, I couldn't afford it. I mean, that's one reason I stopped paying is if I'm responsible for $30,000, we don't have that.
And when the Janoses did not pay, Sheridan turned the matter over to a collection agency.
You were in the hospital and your children were fighting for their lives. Did you know that the doctors at Loveless actually worked for a Florida company?
It didn't cross our mind. When you are going to a hospital that Blue Cross says they cover, it doesn't run across your mind, especially in an emergency situation. Their kids are rushed in there and they're trying to resuscitate them and get them stable. We're going to have a talk with the doctor and see, you know, who do you work for?
The insured assumes that when they go to a hospital that Blue Cross sponsors, that everything that goes on in that hospital is covered by Blue Cross. That was not the case in this case.
The insurance superintendent has now launched an investigation.
They're New Mexico doctors, but their paycheck comes from a Florida company and they're considered out of network. The insured has no idea about these secret contracts.
None. That's wrong. That should not be had. We should not allow that. We will try to stop it.
You know, we're trying to battle all this, and still we'd get, you know, we know these bills are coming in. No one knows where they're coming from. We later find out we're responsible for them. And then we get harassing phone calls on top of that, even while we're in the NICU, from providers. Oh. I know.
He was angry too.
That's how I feel, buddy.
And it's not just Sheridan. When Riley needed delicate eye surgery at Presbyterian Hospital, Blue Cross stuck Brett and Sarah with thousands of dollars in doctor's bills. Out of network, they said. And when Riley needed hearing aids at UNMH, Blue Cross initially denied coverage. Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham reviewed the Janos case.
Patients have no way of knowing what's really covered, what isn't covered, who's in network, who's out of network, and the fact that this family and many others have to use a spreadsheet to figure out what's been billed, what's their practice, what's been covered, what they've paid is outrageous.
A spokesperson for Loveless Hospital would not discuss its business relationship with Sheridan Healthcare. Loveless CEO Ron Stern did not return repeated calls for comment. Blue Cross Chief of Staff Janice Torres calls the Janos case incredibly complex. She admits Blue Cross made mistakes and incorrectly processed claims. She said Blue Cross would fix the errors and pay all outstanding claims. And what does Blue Cross CEO Kurt Shipley have to say? Well, he did not return any of our repeated phone calls, so we caught up with him to ask about apologies to the Janos family.
I don't have a personal apology to say to anybody on camera. Period.
All of New Mexico wants to hear what you have to say about this case. Here's your chance.
I don't have anything to say on camera because of privacy issues.
Although Shipley says there are no outstanding claims, Brett and Sarah are still being hounded by medical providers and threatened with collection.
We are not holding insurance companies accountable for providing coverage. They're supposed to cover these bills. That's their risk, right? You could get sick, they have to pay. And if they're finding exceptions, then something's wrong with the entire system of insurance coverage. And that means we in Congress have got to do something.
In terms of the incredible amount of paper and bills and claims, is your nightmare over?
No, we're still in that nightmare, and you can see part of it right here. I don't know what we'll be responsible for. I don't know if we'll be in collections again. I just don't know.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
Wow, for a look at the breakdown of the bills, the insurance claims submitted to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and a chart of patient medical responsibility, go to our KRQE app.